Hello, welcome to Barr Emerger Part 2, or what I'm going to call Fill Your Box. So today I'm not really going to tie any flies for you. Instead, I'm going to expand on the ideas, techniques, and patterns that I've been sharing in recent videos. The patterns are from flies that I have in my fly box, and at the end of each video, or not every video, but I'll say something like fill your box, try different sizes, colors, add a bead. And I wanted to point out or expand on that a little bit more today. To do this, I've taken additional flies out of my fly box and I'm going to show them and talk about some of the features or the one-off characteristics of each fly. So here we have a Barr's emerger, but rather than pull the crystal flash over the back, I simply trimmed it as a wing. And here I trimmed it a little shorter and it's more like an emerger. And then for an additional variation, and this without changing the dubbing, but I used a root beer colored crystal flash, pulled it over the back and folded it back as legs. And this is not much different than the Barr's emerger, but it's made with pheasant tail. Some of the pheasant tail was pulled over the back and held down with more of that root beer crystal flash or a strand of root beer crystal flash. So we already have several unique flies and we haven't changed colors, hook size, or added beads. So now we can match the hatch or fish varying water conditions, and we certainly can fill a fly box without going to too much trouble. And next I have a larger version of the Higgins SOS that I did in a recent video, and this might be just the ticket for when the water's not so low and not so clear. Now we can take the Rainbow Warrior video and alter the materials just a little bit and come up with a black midge emerger that works well later in the season when any number of tiny black bugs are on the water. So here we have a jig version of a prince nymph, but minus the biot tails, but not too far from flies that we've done recently. And then the surface film midge variants or variations. I did a video on one of those not long ago and just showing some different colors. Now one thing to note here, this one isn't done with chenille. I took a piece of, it was like a multicolored thread, dubbed it, and furled it to make that body extension. This fly and the next fly are a little different. Not sure if you'll see why right away, but the crystal flash or pearl is wrapped down around the hook on the first one, but not on the second one. Second one's a little smaller. And both of these were good producing patterns up on Oil Creek and late in the year. And then a little suspense building here, but recently we wrestled with that miserable stuff of tying silicone worm material to a hook, silly worms. Why not do the same thing with chenille? And this was one of the original San Juan worms, but the pattern with the sex ring in the middle, the dark red band, seems to be more effective at times. And again, all the same techniques, similar materials, and you can see where you could fill your fly box. Now this was another late fall or fall pattern, inchworm. The green chenille was out, so I just whipped one of these up and it does really well. And when all is not lost or when everything else fails, you can't beat a good zebra midge. So here's a black bead, zebra midge, not a lot of fuzz behind it, but a very effective pattern. So let me close by showing you a snapshot of a couple of my midge fly boxes. And although there are a lot of flies in here, there are really only a few patterns, various colors and whatever. I throw out the flies that I don't tie on or that didn't work for me and replace them with flies that I think will match a given situation or current conditions. So with that, thanks for hanging in to the end. Again, not the longest video, and there's more work to do here. But if you want to learn more about me, look me up on Amazon.com. And until next time, be safe.